Players who fabricated runs or were discovered employing one or more forms of cheating have appeared in the speedrunning community throughout the years. Between 2003 and 2005, one of the early cases of cheating occurred in the Mario Kart 64 community. If it goes unnoticed for the entire time and neither the moderators nor members of the community suspect any wrongdoing or improper behavior. In this video, we'll examine the sequence of events and some of the most popular cheating techniques to see if we can see any discrepancies that would have revealed the cheater. Finally, we won't immediately discuss who the cheater is to keep things intriguing. Instead, while we examine them, I'd like you to attempt to identify the guilty party. Speedrunning and the internet were extremely different in 2003 since there were so few games with active communities. Mario Kart, GoldenEye, and Doom were the biggest of the few that did exist, and it's critical to comprehend their proof specifications to fully comprehend how this trick was executed. For two reasons, Doom's technique of evidence was maybe the greatest. Because it was a PC game, the recording was simpler, and the input files the game produced could be viewed as video, facilitating easy run sharing between players. The difference between GoldenEye and Mario Kart was that full game speedruns weren't common. Players in this era competed depending on the speed at which they completed each level of the game. Communities that valued honor published times on forums. Some participants preserved records by sending Polaroids of the final times and participating in AIM discussions and email chains. Although not essential, video proof was preferred. Mario Kart timings with videos began to appear on leaderboards as YouTube and other video sharing websites gained popularity in 2005, eventually becoming a requirement for top finishers. With the growth of the Mario Kart fanbase, moderation was required. Players were most distinctly distinguished by PAL NTSC version disparities. 5 frames per second may not sound like much, but PAL used a 25 FPS frame rate while NTSC used 30. However, every frame matters when setting world records, and despite the little difference, PAL players had a significant edge over NTSC players since PAL's slower frame rate made it somewhat simpler to optimize circuits when setting up micro turbos and race lines. Maybe. How come North Americans didn't purchase a Buddy cartridge? 2003 was unique. More difficult to get than P cartridges was hardware. A PAL N64, PAL, CRT, and P cartridge are required to play at 25 FPS without input latency. These factors led to NT players becoming increasingly incensed at how simple it was for PAL players to establish New World. After the 2003 European players defeated them overnight, one player stood out. The Mario Kart community was rocked on March 30 when Michael Young Garris broke his first world record on the Rainbow Road circuit. He immediately made a run for Meyer's car's highest honor, the Champion Distinguishment, 64 tests. The winner is determined by an equation that considers your average finish across all tracks and the number of world records. With both Bowser Castle times after the hymn, on June 25, 2003, MJ broke 7 additional records between March and June of that year, which is remarkable given that he already had broken the 3-lap record on the track the day before by 0.2, less than 24 hours. This put him one record away from Sammy Chapton, the founder of the SMK Speedrun Group, and a well-known Super Mario Kart runner, who currently held the title of champion. Sammy's Royal Raceway F-lap record was broken by MJ 7 days later, making him the champion. Hadrick, a talented NTSC player, ascended Medi York less than MJ's. Let's see, in 2002, when he submitted his first runs to complete the timesheet, he joined the Mario Kart Time Trials team. He established a 3-lap record at Royal Raceway of 2:23.68 on August 12, 2003. A month later, on the Royal Raceway's F-lap, he set his second record, besting MJ's time by 0.02 of a second. The Royal Raceway track demonstrates the caliber of these two players. Hadrick took the lead before September ended and began focusing on other tracks while they competed for the 3-lap record here. The hybrid beats the records for the F-lap at Wero Stadium, Krupa Beach, and Luigi Raceway before the year was over. Before 2003 came to an end, MJ recovered the Luigi Raceway and KTB F-laps, giving him 3 world records. Things start to become interesting now. In February and June, Hadrick completed the KTB F-lap following many weeks of inactivity. Despite losing 2 to MJ earlier, the overall records would steadily increase to 8. At Track Wero Stadium on June 17, Hadrick set a 3-lap and F-lap record for Mario Kart 64 history for the second and last time. The 3-lap record held by Sammy Cheaton is 2:24.52. with an opening F-lap time of 1:27.45. At Wario Stadium, the hat-trick broke 2 double records. Wario Stadium has several difficulties. It's difficult to line up because of its length, tight twists, and hilly sections. The circuit is fairly challenging, but there are multiple places to do mini turbos where you drift to build charge and release it for a small boost. Perseverance is challenging because of these factors. Despite this, he improved the F-lap by 1/10 and smashed Sammy Cheaton's 3-lap record by half a second. On August 13, 2004, Hadrick won the title. This was 2 months later, after a year. With so many impressive accomplishments like the Bowser Castle and Toad's Turnpike 3-lap records, you're probably wondering whether Ha was submitting fake runs, and if there's another cheating technique we should look into. Tool-assisted speedruns play the game using input files and macros. They mostly focus on bragging rights, displaying tactics or player restrictions that are humanly impossible. To set a world record, dishonest gamers may post a task to a leaderboard and even pretend to do it live. SDA Yoshi's Lee 2 prepare inputs for Mario Kart 64, you need an emulator and software. They were uncommon in 2004, and only a select few could create them as the first task. Films by Bizg Grid were first posted on his website for job videos. Let's assume that Hamrick was proficient with these instruments. Runs of 2004 video? Due to 2 factors, no. To create a task in this amount of time, Hedrick would have needed to capture the emulator's high-quality video stream as displayed on screen. Since the majority of the movies shared back then were poor copies of VHS tapes, this would have aroused red flags. Likely work around, create the task on the PC, send the data to the N64, and then use a camera or VHS to capture the movie. However, there is a catch. This wouldn't give the film moderators of the time what they desired. To transit emulator video to the N64, DEX is required. DEX drives were third-party gadgets that allowed PCs to read memory cards from the N64 and PS1. Hadrick performed during their 1997 play. The same problem appears. He would still require technical know-how to rig the run even with a DEX drive. But that's not all. Different ways are available on the leaderboard to catch early simulations or task runs. Moderators keep their secrets to themselves to detect cheaters, thus I won't talk about them. After Hebert won the championship in August, MJ reclaimed it in September by establishing 6 records in a row, including 3 on the same day. In 2005, Hedrick established a few records, but not enough to surpass MJ. If you're unsure of who cheated, don't worry. The community was unaware that anything was amiss because neither runner had uploaded any suspicious recordings. Nothing even passes the test today. If no one cheated, what happened when MJ regained the title? The village was quiet following the competition up until July 2005. The worst day in Mario Kart 64, the cheat was made public. Would acknowledge lying on camera. Yes, as he wasn't a virgin. Eric Rick has 3 genuine friends. The Hab 3 filed times under a single name, enabling them to concentrate on a small number of songs and quickly break world records. The confessional video was humor and protected music, and this is well known. Chung. They did this because they believed that no one could surpass MJ's record on an N. TSC version because of the Powell advantage, but they only had 1 large. What happened after this video? After this incident, the neighborhood faced several problems. What would happen to Hare's championship reign and his world record driving times? Tracking who and where drove. Troy and Luke drove one of the 2 Moo Moo Farm records, while Hadrick drove the other. The triumvirate was ruled by these 2. Many of their records are notable. First, the longest non-shortcut 3-lap record is 2:23.99 at Troy's Royal Raceway, just 76 days behind MJ's KTB Flab. Considering the era and the fact that it was on NTSS-C for 7 years before MJ got it back, Troy's 1:36.68 on the Charcoal Mountain 3-lap is also one of the most incredible times ever driven. Also noteworthy is Luke's F-lap record at Meyer Raceway. His last record, achieved in 2008, was valid until the age of 20. Given their power, it would seem unjust to erase these lovely events. The populace made a choice. History was changed to remove Hedrick's rule as champion, restoring MJ's uninterrupted reign. Since acquiring an identity was an undetectable crime in this day and age, and streaming wasn't yet, the moderators couldn't make them drive live all the time. The main difficulty was how to stop this from happening again. Everyone was puzzled as to how to halt this. Nobody attempted to respond to that query once again. If they did, they were unsuccessful since MJ's reign persisted until 2013, at which point Mattis's roamer would have thrown him. That part of the story is told in my documentary about the best time trial cyclists, Matthias and Dan Burbank. It would be nearly hard to carry off this kind of trick in the current environment. It's also extremely unlikely that 3 new players could even come close to pulling this off, as it takes tens of thousands of hours to develop the skill required to perform at the world record level, and world record level players are typically required to live stream their attempts with the further optimization of time. Since Hedrick's name wasn't on the tracks we looked at, you could have made a guess based on the existing record history boards. If you guessed correctly that Hamrick was the cheater, let us know in the comments below. Anyway guys, that's it for the day. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And for more amazing videos like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more speedrunning related videos. Also, don't forget to press that bell icon. We'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.